Alright guys, thanks for stopping by my channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at how we can create a wavy or a twisty text effect within Adobe Illustrator. This is great for use in packaging design, posters, really whatever you might be trying to design within Adobe Illustrator. So let's jump into it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is click up here and do a new file. For this one, let's do a vertical 1000 by 2000 pixel document. First thing that we'll do, just so we have a nice background to work with, is select the M key for the rectangle tool, which is the hotkey. If not, you can click over here in your left toolbar, and then we'll just draw a shape over the full artboard. So we get ourselves a background. The V key, we will delete the stroke, come back to our fill. You can delete the stroke by just clicking the slash key on your keyboard, the one under the question mark, which will delete the stroke. Then let's adjust this fill. Why don't we do something like a warm yellow, something around here. That'll work for now. Then what we'll do next to make sure that we don't bump this background layer is just hit Command 2, which will keep it from moving around at all on us. Alright, next thing that we're going to do is type a word out here. So for this video, why don't we just do tubular. We're going to do it in all caps. And change the font over here to Haas Grotesque. We'll do Haas Grotesque Black, which will give us a nice starting point here. And then we're going to change the color of that font to just a little bit of an off black and hit OK. Alright, now that we have our text typed out here, why don't we make sure that it is center aligned with our align panel down here. If you don't have that, you can always come up to help and just type in align, which will give you the align panel to open. Next, what we'll do is we'll click on our text layer. We'll come up to effect, then distort and transform, then transform. What we'll do is create about 4 copies with a vertical spacing of, let's see, bump this to where you need it to be. I like to keep mine a little bit tight, so we'll keep that at 120. Why don't we try 8 copies? All right, that'll give us a lot to work with if we do 8 copies. So from here, what we'll do is just drag this up. Again, center it in your artboard, approximately. Next thing that we're going to do is come up to the object panel and then click on envelope distort, and we'll click make with mesh. You can adjust the rows and columns to your liking. For this one, I am going to add some more rows in here so we have a little bit more control. But obviously feel free to do whatever you'd like. It really depends on the amount of copies of text that you have and how much control you want to have. So I'm going to do, for this one, 6 rows and 4 columns. We'll hit OK. And from here, what you can do, using your direct select tool over here, you can either click over here in the toolbar or hit A to select one of these points and kind of pull it around, which will create a nice wavy effect in your text. Don't forget that you can also pull these anchor points around, and just keep basically playing with this to your liking. I like to try to make like nice curves in my design, which will make it wavy. We'll see, you pull that one over here, that one over here. You kind of get this nice vertical line going through it. Same thing on these horizontal ones. If you kind of do, a vertical wave, creates a nice path throughout the design. Like I said, always be sure to play with these anchor points kind of to your liking though. I think that'll really create a more unique look. But yeah, just basically keep playing around with these until you find something that you like. If you want, you can always play with the edges too. I kind of like the idea of having a clear bounding box for this, and kind of having the funkiness happen in the center. But obviously, you can do the same thing on the edges if you'd like. I'll show you what that looks like really quick, why not? Play with that. Same thing on the sides. Welcome to play with basically everything. So yeah, try that, and that, which will give us a really crazy look all over. Very organic from the sides. Depends, like I said, on the look that you're going for. If you want it to be contained within a rectangle, that's fine. If not, definitely feel free to kind of do this organic look. But yeah, that's basically it for that part of the tutorial. The last thing I'm going to do here is just throw a little bit of texture on top of our poster. So we'll draw a rectangle with the M key again over the whole artboard, or else you can click over here on the rectangle tool. Then from there, what we'll do is adjust the fill. So we'll double click on the fill over here, and then we'll change this to an 80, 80, 80, which is a mid-tone gray. So now that we have that over top of our design, what we can do is come up here to Effect. We'll go down to Artistic and then Film Grain. You can use any of these effects, depends on kind of the look that you're going for, but for the sake of today's video, let's do Film Grain. We'll open that up, which will open up our Photoshop effects. You can definitely play around with the grain size, the highlight area, the intensity. You can also adjust what effect you're using within this panel, but for this one, and for the sake of this tutorial, I think this will work fine. So we'll hit OK, and it's going to take a second to render. This definitely takes a lot of computer power, so you're always going to want to save this step for last, especially since once it's applied, it makes everything else in your document a little bit harder to bump around, because like I said, it just takes up a lot of your computer power. But once we have that film grain applied to our gray box over the top, what we can do is play with the blend modes by going over to opacity on this right side and switching normal down to overlay. And once we have that overlay, it's gonna take a second to apply it again, but once we zoom in, we can kind of see this cool little noisy effect that we have. Just gives a little bit more character to the design. Big fan of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If I was to make this into a poster, maybe add some text down here, use a word that actually makes sense for whatever you're designing, and definitely spend a little bit more time playing with the points themselves and definitely those Bezier curves. But yeah, that pretty much does it for today's video, guys. If you found it to be helpful, it would be awesome if you leave a like on this video. And if you want to see more content like this, it would be awesome if you'd subscribe to the channel. All right, thanks for stopping by.